You know, some people believe money can buy everything: respect, love, even talent. But what if I told you there was a man who thought exactly that, until a single song broke him? Stay with me, because this isn't just a story about a billionaire and a janitor. It's a story about dignity, hidden gifts, and the moment the world sees you for who you really are. If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever been told you're less than, watch this to the end. And if this story moves you, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it. Someone needs to hear it. The Marblewood Grand Hotel was a kind of place where money wasn't just spent, it was displayed. Crystal chandeliers dangled like frozen fireworks. The marble floors shone like still water, and every corner smelled faintly of roses and wealth. Every evening, after the guests had left the ballroom, Elijah Brown mopped those same marble floors. His blue janitor's overalls bore faint bleach stains, his hands calloused from years of hard work. Most guests didn't even notice him. To them, Elijah was just another part of the background, like the mop bucket or the coat rack. That night, a charity gala filled the room with silk gowns, designer tuxedos, and the clinking of champagne glasses. At the center of the ballroom stood a grand Steinway piano, black and polished like liquid glass. The host of the evening, Richard Cavendish, one of the richest men in the city, leaned against it, laughing with his friends. Elijah was mopping near the stage when he heard Richard's booming voice. Music. Richard called to the small crowd. It's a language only the cultured can speak. A young woman beside him, his fiancée, giggled. "You play beautifully, Richard." Richard grinned. "Of course I do. I studied in Vienna, unlike some people here." His eyes landed on Elijah, still holding his mop. The group chuckled. Elijah kept his head down. Then Richard said, "Tell you what, if you can play this piano, Elijah, I'll give you $1 million. The room went silent. Guests exchanged amused glances. Elijah paused. "Sir, I'm here to work, not to." Richard smirked, cutting him off. "Fine, I'll make it even more interesting. If you can impress me with one song, I'll marry you instead of her." He laughed, the room following like an echo. Elijah just stared at him for a long moment. Then he put down his mop. He walked to the piano and rested his fingers on the keys. Fingers no one knew had touched the piano in years. When he began to play, the laughter stopped. The first notes were soft, almost hesitant, a simple melody that floated through the air like sunlight through clouds. But then the music grew. His hands moved with impossible grace, weaving complex chords with tender runs, each note falling exactly where it belonged. It wasn't just a song. It was a story of struggle, of loss, of hope fighting its way back. You could hear the nights he'd practiced in a tiny apartment, the hours he'd spent teaching himself because music school was out of reach. The ballroom seemed to shrink until there was only Elijah, the piano, and the truth his music spoke. Richard's smirk faded. His fiancée's hand dropped from his arm. Tears welled up in the eyes of strangers who, moments ago, couldn't be bothered to notice the man in overalls. When the last note faded, the silence was deafening. Then applause. Not polite, half-hearted applause, but the kind that rises from the chest, from awe. Richard's voice cracked when he finally spoke. Where did you learn to play like that?" Elijah smiled faintly. "My mother cleaned houses, so I could have lessons. I quit school to take care of her when she got sick. But music never quit me." Richard cleared his throat, suddenly aware of the eyes on him. Well, that was something. Elijah picked up his mop. "It was everything," he said quietly, and walked away. 2 weeks later, the Marblewood Hotel announced a new artist in residence, Elijah Brown. His performances were sold out every night, his music recorded and streamed around the world. And Richard? He became the man people whispered about, the billionaire who mocked a janitor and got schooled in front of the city's elite. Sometimes the most priceless things come from the people you overlook. And sometimes the richest person in the room is the one with nothing in their pockets, but a soul full of music. So tell me, have you ever been underestimated, only to surprise everyone? Share your story in the comments. If this touched your heart, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and help me keep telling stories that matter.